Well, viewers, I'm afraid it has come to this. We don't often do this, but it's time for a bothersomely boring browse of the 2006 What Car Used Car of the Year Ultimate Used Car Showroom Supplement. Welcome to a bothersomely boring browse. So yes, this is generally done when we don't really have anything else to make a video about on the channel. So I recently found this supplement. We're in a typical used car from 2006 period, which is this 2003 Passat B5.5. It says the secret of second-hand car buying: what, where and how to buy the best cars at the best prices. Every budget from £350 to £27,000. Make your money go further. In association with Lloyd's TSP Insurance. It sort of dates that sort of thing because Lloyd's TSP doesn't exist anymore. So there you go, Lloyd's TSP Insurance advert. How to bag a second-hand bargain. Buying a used car is a nightmare. Right, wrong. It needn't be fraught with danger. Follow What Car's simple guide to buying a second-hand car, and we'll help you find the right car for your needs at a budget that won't burst your bank account. 18 years ago. This supplement removes the mystique and perils of buying a second-hand car. Follow our advice and you'll save a bundle on your next purchase. Good luck. There's a chart here. Should I buy new or second hand? Where should I buy? How to get a good car? A fair price. We're not going to go too in depth in every single section of this because we'll be here all day and you will be bored out of your skulls. So we'll move on immediately to page 4. So here we go, new and used. Interestingly, we've got two Zefiras. Here's Zefira B on the left, Zefira A on the right. The Zefira B had come out the previous year. So budget, used, cheapest new Zefira, £13,000. Gosh, if we think about the actual inflation for a second between 2006 and today, if you notice right at the end, I'll show you an example of a used car that they're looking at, which is a Hyundai Elantra, and was £575. That's about £900 today. So that's about the difference in between, a budget in 2006 and a budget today. Quite actually a big difference, but yeah, 2-year-old Zefira, £8,000. Goodness gracious me. Depreciation, choice, box fresh feeling, used car survivor kit, money, phone, notepad, pen, a what car price guide, research, and a map. Yeah, look at that. These days, it's all about Google Maps, isn't it, or Waze. So, where can you buy? Websites. Yep. Independent dealers. Slightly older cars you buy a franchise dealer. Independents vary considerably from dedicated specialists to dodgier backseat places. Back street places. Yeah, there's a few more rights these days than there were in 2006 for buying second-hand cars. Auction. Yeah, rock bottom prices. Car supermarket. Yeah, good old pre-registered cars. Private sales. Yeah, you're absolutely right about the backup because that's the least backup of anything. Main dealer. Safest place for peace of mind. Approved used cars, creme de la creme. I'm not sure all used cars are creme de la creme, but if you say so. Take you to paying up, page 10 already. Choosing your next car can be fun. Oh yes, that's what we like to do, isn't it, viewers? But deciding how to pay for it might not be. Right, so what things have we got? Cash up front. Yeah, that's still a really, really good option for buying a second-hand car. Dealer schemes. Hire purchase. Ooh, subprime finance. This is before 2007. Ooh, high street options. A personal loan from a high street lender could be a better bet. Yeah. Even today, a sort of normal loan actually is a better option for many people buying used car than dealer finance. and then you can buy some loans online. In fact, most people do. Or unlocking your house's equity. I'm not a financial advisor, viewers, and yeah, I'm glad I'm not. Jargon Buster, ABS, AC, APR, Banker's Draft, Cat 1, C Control, Clean Mint, Electric Mirrors, ESP, ESR, EW, Electric Windows, X-Con. You don't want a car from an X-Con, do you? X-Demo, Flat Rate, FSH, Fully Loaded, HPI, IMAC. I've not seen that one before. Logbook, yeah, Met. I thought that was the Metropolitan Police, really. Metropolitan Line in London. MOT, Nearly New, Offers, O&O, or Nearest Other, yes. Pass, most cars are power steering, don't we really these days? In 2006, a lot of them wouldn't have had power steering on the used market. Part exchange, remote central locking, trade. Yeah, so many people still masquerading private sellers with their traders. TNT, taxed and tested. Actual physical tax disc. VED, road tax, VGC, yeah, regular condition. 4-speed auto, 4-speed manual, V5. Brilliant. So we got the judges there. John Owen of Fords of Winsford. Tim Pollard, Deputy Out of Watcar at the time. Duncan Nicole Fisher, Managing Director of Warranty Direct. Martin Keithley, founder of Vehicle Information Publishing. Not heard of that. Steve Fowley, yes, I've heard of him. Long-term editor of Watcar. Curtis Williams from Lex Vehicle Leasing. And Graham Smith from British Car Auctions at Blackbush. So, yeah, I imagine that's kind of a fair panel of experts for 2006. This is where we start to watch and weep. Look at the sort of prices that a 3-year-old Fiesta would have been. Under £5,000. My gosh, imagine trying to buy one of these now for sort of £6,000 to £7,000. You just can't. I mean, so yeah, I think 7,000 would be you adjusting the inflation a bit, but you can't buy a 3-year-old Fiesta for that kind of money. And you can't buy a 3-year-old Yaris for that kind of money either. Yaris's, you know, even now, an 03 Yaris is probably about £2,000 for a good one. Jazzes, of course, were expensive. Would be like £7,000, with close to like £8,000 to £9,000, and then 51 plate car. So that's this is 2006. It'd be about 5 years old. £3,000. If we think about how much a last of the line Car Plus from 2019 would be, let's say it's about 4 years old, 4 to 5 years old. There's no way you're getting one of those for sort of £4,000 or whatever it is now. No way. You'd be paying for that closer to sort of double that, maybe 8. Goodness me. And then a K11 Micra, one of the sort of later ones, £2,000 for one that's 6 years old. There's no way you're buying a 6-year-old Micra for £2,000, is there? Wow. So on to the MPVs here. Apparently, 2-year-old Zafira, £8,200. 1.6 design would be a typical spec. The 1.6 was the least powerful engine in the Zafira A. But that is really crazy. And look at the depreciation on a Citroen Zara Picasso. I mean, they're not the best cars, but one that is 4 years old was less than £5,000. So again, we're talking maybe £6,000 to £7,000. Goodness me, that's like looking at a car from like 2020. It's an MPV and it's about £6,000 to £7,000. You just don't get that anymore. And just the one I want to recommend down here is the Toyota Versa, which is not a car I think particularly that's well known anymore. I'm not really sure it was well known at the time, to be honest. Now, we don't talk about diesels on this channel, viewers, so we're going to have to skip most of these, but look at this. So a 2-year-old Honda CR-V for £11,295. So we're talking getting close to 14,000, 15,000. There's no way these days a 2-year-old CR-V is that. That'd be like 20 to 25, I should think. Madness. Now this is absolutely fascinating. Estate cars. The main two I recommend are both petrols, which is good. Vectra, so 2-year-old Vectra, about 7,500. So we're talking maybe £9,000, which is pretty good value these days. My gosh, you can't get anything like that at all. Depreciation, sort of back in the day, was so heavy on cars like Vectras. Madness. I mean, you can't buy an Insignia Tourer anymore. Insignia at all is gone. So I don't even know what the equivalent of that would be. However, I do know what I like here. Look at this. So a 4-year-old Volvo V70 with the less powerful of the 2.4 5-cylinder white block petrols, 9395. And it says there's no need to go for one of the more powerful cars. This base 2.4 is more sufficient. I disagree with that. The 168 brake horsepower one is much better than the 140. Much better. But as you think about that, that would have been maybe a £25,000-30,000 car from new. And these days, a car like that, looking to 2002, be about £2,000 now in today's market. A car like that, that's good, you'd be well over 100,000 miles on it. But you think about buying a Volvo V90 that's sort of the equivalent today, that's 4 years old. Oh my gosh, it's, I think, in excess of £20,000. Just look at the two particular types of car that it recommends, the executive ones, both about £11,500. So we're going up to something 13, 14, something like that in today's money. But you could buy a 5 Series we can't talk about particularly. We can now talk about a Jaguar XJ8, the X308 shape. Viewers, now that is probably better. The next model on, the X350, you can see an early one, an 03, so that would be 3 years old. It says it's about £22,000. Now, I think one of these would probably be £35,000 to £40,000 new. It's funny, the depreciation's not as bad as I would have imagined for a car like that at this time. Maybe they hold their value back in the day, but certainly for one of those now, maybe £3,000-4,000. Sometimes the X308s are a bit less than that, actually. But yeah, tasty treats in here. So, looking here, it makes you weep, doesn't it? Look what you can buy that's a 3-year-old family car. Ford Focus 5750, that's, oh gosh, you're thinking maybe sort of 8,000-9,000 now, but no way you can buy a real Focus that money. Corolla, again, similar sort of thing, smaller engine, but maybe 6,000. Again, going for sort of 8,000 perhaps, about that, maybe a little bit more. And then again, we've got the Astra. That would be a very new model. That's the Astra H. Came out in 2004, 2-year-old one. Depreciation is quite heavy. That would have been maybe a sort of, I don't know, £15,000-17,000 car new. Of course, I prefer the Volvo S40. That's with the 1.8 Mazda engine in it. The S is the base model, and that was about 10.5 at the time for a 2-year-old car. I would reckon maybe that car new would have been about 20. Again, you've got to scale that up a little bit due to inflation, but interesting. Strangely enough, with the sporty cars, they kind of sort of put this R53 Mini Cooper S, 2 years old, it's £12,500 against a 2-year-old Mazda RX-8, the 228 brake horsepower version, at about £16,000. I think I know which one of those I would buy myself. Yeah, the Cooper S is fun, but you know, the RX-8 is just a bit more practical, although you've got to keep topping that oil up and you've got to watch those rotor tip seals. It says, the engine has proved pretty reliable. That comment has not aged well at all. And then we've got, 2001 MX-5 there for about £7,500. That'd be maybe 10, something like that these days. And we've got some big bargains here. 3-year-old Mondeo 1.8 Z-Tech, which would have been sort of towards the bottom of the range. Same 1.8 Mazda engine actually is in that Volvo S40. So yes, 6,395. That's well under £10,000. I think one of these would have been, yeah, 17,000. It says here. Shows you the depreciation. That's almost down to like a third of its value after 3 years. Good choice there, the Honda Accord. That generation of Accord is one I'm hoping to film at some point this year. Bizarrely, the runner-up is an Audi A4, which is a considerably smaller car inside. Would have held its value a bit better. It's got the famous 1.8 turbo engine. It's also in this Passat. Yeah. And then again, they are recommending you get yourself a Jaguar X-Type. I mean, they're fine. I prefer that Accord personally. But loads of choice. But Monte's so cheap. It's no wonder people often wouldn't even buy used cars on finance because, you know, relatively speaking, that's quite a bargain, isn't it? I wish kind of that sort of thing's happened today, but, you know, it's 18 years ago now. So as today, look at this, Mark 1 Focus. Yeah, as it says, there's absolutely loads of them around. They would have just been discontinued because the Mark II came out early 2005. So yeah, I mean, they sold tons of them. There were loads of used ones around for not a lot of money. Really not a lot of money for a 3-year-old car that would have maybe had 30,000 miles on the clock. Again, if you just fed up, it's maybe about £9,000. Yeah, and previous winners, Mazda 6, Vectra C, and then again the Focus. That all makes sense to me. Haggle like a pro. Trust your gut feeling. It's normally right. If a car feels right, done all the checks and buy it. If you've got any doubts, simply walk away. There are thousands of a fish in the sea. Oh my gosh, this is really, really good advice, actually. Martin Keefe, he says, always buy cars and service history, no exceptions. Yep, that's good advice. Don't be frightened to haggle. If you don't ask, you won't get. Now, this is a market where depreciation was huge, and, you know, there were really, really sort of large margins in some cars, actually, back in the day. Very few second-hand cars sell for the full asking price. Well, it's not always true, but it's going back to that sort of way now with most cars. Don't look too keen. Yeah, my gosh, do not look too keen when you're trying to buy a second-hand car. It's worth buying when people are desperate to sell. Many turn to online vehicle matching services because they can't sell their car anywhere else. Yeah, I remember people ringing me up when I was trying to sell cars on Auto Trader back in the day. I don't know if it's a thing now, but certainly, yeah, back in 2006, that was going on a lot. How to check a second-hand car? Mechanical, driving controls, bodywork, switchgear, yep, exhaust and underside, wheels and tyres, test drive, yep. Absolutely test drive a car if you're thinking of buying it. It'd be amazing number of people who don't do that. Provenance, yeah, check the registration document and chassis. Check the interior trim, yeah, all very, very sensible to do that. And yeah, make sure you obviously buy cars with a decent amount of tread depth left on the tyres. Yeah, check the paperwork, that's really, really useful. Okay, last page. Okay, this is my absolute favourite page, this last one. On a shoestring. Gentleman who lives in Ealing, so he just bought the car. £650, that's around 1,000, maybe 1,100. It's a 1.4 Corsa LS. Very, very typical sort of used car back in 2006. A 12-year-old Corsa. I think now be a 2012 Corsa D. Again, you could get a 1.4, but the power output that it's actually closer to the 1.2 now, about 82 horsepower. So think about how much one of those would be worth. So we're looking around the sort of £1,000, £1,100 mark, maybe something like that. You can't buy a 2012 Corsa of that unless it's spares or repair, or the head gasket's gone, or timing chain stretch or something. You just can't really. unless, you know, you're friends with somebody's parents or whatever, and they don't know how much it's worth. Isn't that great? Look at that. A 1989 Renault 5. So let's think about that now. We need to go back a long way to sort of compare that. So we're looking at a 17-year-old car. So it's now 2024. So we'd be looking at a car from around 2007. So we'd be looking at a Mark III Clio. Can you get a Mark III Clio for less than £500? You might be able to, actually. It depends on what sort of condition that it's in. I mean, yeah, that sort of works, really. 350, approaching sort of £500. But this is the one out. Now, I looked up the price of this Hyundai Elantra. I promised we'd look at this. So this car is 9 years old. The lady had paid $575 for it. It's about £900 in today's money. You think about the cars that would have been, you know, around in, say, 2015. How the heck would you get a Hyundai, it's like between an i30 and an i40, for that kind of money? £900? No, absolutely not. And it's a high mileage one, but there's just no way. It's just no way. The other day I went to source a car for a client in London. It was a 2015 Hyundai iX20, and very much quite low mileage, automatic, but that was £8,000. Goodness me, you know, we do not really understand just what an amazing time we were having 18, 20 years ago in second-hand cars. Look at all these really cheap cars, and of course, they weren't worth anything at all at the time to scrap. Scrap was really low. So, you know, if you have one of these, you can pick them up really cheaply because the scrap people didn't want them. Isn't that crazy? And in case you're wondering, yep, B5.5 Passat from £2,300, which would be for a 97, was the sort of earliest model for the B5. So there we go. What Car Used Car of the Year, Ultimate Used Car Showroom from 2006. Well, I do hope you enjoyed this sort of look at the second-hand car market from 18 years ago. Makes us feel a little bit sort of sad, doesn't it, that second-hand cars were so much cheaper, even if you adjust it for inflation. But that's just the way that it is. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video and comment below, and we shall see you again at some point for something else equally boring.